tiny little museum down in the Key West, but in South Florida we're the only one. We've been here since 1957. Yep, 1957. Established in 56, we've been here since 57. Short little time we got kicked out during the Cuban Missile Crisis, where we spent the 70s up in Fort Lauderdale and then came back in the 80s. One of our very first pieces of equipment was the steam engine on that side right over there, number 153. Formerly belonged to the Florida East Coast Railway that used to travel from Jacksonville, Florida to Key West over the overseas bridge system. One of our third pieces was actually this car here. So this is actually very important rail car in American history. So everybody knows Air Force One, the airplane. Well, before the president traveled by plane, he traveled by train. And this is actually U.S. rail car number one, U.S. number one. This was an armored rail car that the president traveled on. It was built in 1928. U.S. government approached the Pullman Company towards building an armored rail car. So in 1940, World War II had already started, but not for us yet. They approached the Pullman Company about building an armored rail car for safe travel of the president. And they happened to take from the Explorer series, which they had already built. The Magellan just happened to be going in for rebuild. They retrofitted the rail car. They ended up killing off two of the staterooms. It got modified from its original floor plan. There are 6 original cars of this configuration that were built. The Magellan and the Marco Polo are the only 2 that are still in existence today. The Marco Polo is actually over at the South Duluth Railway Museum in Georgia. She's actually, so with this car here, I'll kind of step back. President Roosevelt was the first president to use this car.
Sure.
Before he used this car, he actually traveled on the Marco Polo. That was his private rail car. And when we go in, I can't really show you from down here. Roosevelt's last name means field of flowers, and he tried to make his own family crest. And inside on 2 of the doors has this kind of red flower, a blossom. And on this car and the Marco Polo, you'll actually see that flower on both rail cars. That kind of, it ties in the 2 cars to each other as the private rail car and then the president's armored rail car. Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, and Reagan all used this car. President Ronald Reagan in 1984 used this car as his, part of his re-election campaign. By then, we'd already taken ownership of the car in 1958. It went government surplus in 57. They no longer needed an armored rail car. They were already kind of coming out with better airplanes, so flying was a lot faster in 57. We happened to buy this car for $100.
What?
And then we spent $30,000 to restore it back to its original condition, and then also moving it from where it was to here was another $15,000. So it was really cheap to get, but then a lot of money to put her back in a decent shape.
That was a lot of money. 100. Yes.
See, it's cleaning.
She looks so clean and spotless.
One of the things a lot of people ask why we have this car and why it's not at the Smithsonian being something that significant in history is at the time in 57, the Smithsonian isn't what they are now. They didn't have the space for her. Today, if the U.S. government offered the Smithsonian the International Space Station,